Hello. This week's podcast is for anyone who's ever said, circle back, let's take this offline, or cried in a conference room and called it personal growth. Episode 3 of Climbing Ladders starts now. Welcome to Climbing Ladders, the career podcast for anyone who's ever nodded in a meeting while secretly Googling, what does synergy even mean? Printed their resignation letter at the office printer, yes, they know. Or answered, I'm good, when they're actually 3 spreadsheets away from a nervous breakdown. I'm Kevin, one of your hosts, career crash test dummy, and a guy who's survived as many performance reviews as Marvel has superhero movies. Every week, we unpack the climb, the promotions, the pitfalls, the oh God, why did I reply all moments. So grab your coffee, your ambitions, and that HR-approved sense of humor, because on this ladder, we're climbing with sarcasm, not safety harnesses. Right, CT?
Oh, for sure. If you have been following along, well, welcome back. And if you're new, then welcome. I'm a recovering corporate climber, mom of twins, and running a full-time consultant gig. Before we get into this episode's cold topic, I want to add some disclaimers to this episode, just for legal reasons. In fact, for any of our episodes. If you feel like the topic isn't something you experienced or feel you're removed from a situation like this, I truly, truly want to encourage you just to hang tight and listen. I believe the topics can help someone in your network, a coworker, friend, or family. So it's just nice for you to use our podcast as a reference point for someone else or yourself that may be experiencing our topic at hand. With that being said, whether you're on the way up the ladder, sliding down it, or just freaking trying to jump off, you're in the right place. So, Kev, I want to start off by saying we are loving the feedback from our dope ass network.
Mhm.
Like all the messages, the texts, the things that you're sharing with me and I'm sharing back with you. It's special. So thank you all
Yeah.
so much for checking us out as we navigate this new podcast life. It's been super fun to see my friends and past coworkers reshare posts and interact with everything we've been sharing.
Yeah, that's been so cool. I've also had a few dope ass friends myself send me a text. You
You
know who you
do?
are. Yeah, and it's been awesome to have the support as we try some new stuff. Speaking of new stuff, we aren't the only ones trying to make a change. Did you hear the Starbucks in South Korea are asking customers to stop bringing in their desktop computers and printers? Yes, their printers into the cafes. Remote workers are using their cafes as a cheap place to work. They're even called cafe squatters.
I believe that. I was in Amsterdam this past spring, and a few of the cafes had little signs on the table that said "laptop free zone." I
Mhm.
mean, I'm super guilty of being on my phone in places I should probably be more present. So adding phone and your computer, I mean, I
Mhm.
would never leave that coffee shop then. I'd probably just be sipping on the same cup of coffee all day for free Wi-Fi.
I mean, anything for free Wi-Fi these days, yeah?
Actually, I'm having Wi-Fi issues, so that option sounds pretty good right now.
I'm also
I
recording in a Starbucks in South Korea right now, so
Oh, I wish I was. Anyways, aside from squatting, we don't we don't recommend doing that. But speaking of getting after it, let's just dive in.
let's do
I
it.
feel like we're avoiding the inevitable, so let's just rip off the Band-Aid. All right. So we teased what this topic was, but it's not a fun topic. Deep breaths, everyone. Well, this week's episode, we are talking about the gut punch, the fact that you just got laid off. Yeah, that happened. And if you're new here, today's episode, it's a personal one. Let's talk about what happened when you're trying to log in for work and see that you got locked out of your company laptop. You get a 9 a.m. TV calendar invite with HR, followed with the final kiss of death at your exit interview with well, we wish you all the best.
And that moment hits, and you just ask yourself, did that really happen? Quick data stats, let's nerd out together. According to USA Facts, by mid 2025, that's January through June, approximately 10 million workers were laid off or discharged in the US. This figure is about 3.5% higher than the same time period as last year, and approximately 40% of American workers will experience at least one layoff during their careers, according to Demand Sage. When I hear those type of numbers, you or someone you know is probably going through an experience like this. Let me set the scene. It's a random Tuesday. You're in your sweatpants, sipping lukewarm coffee, and boom, that meeting invite hits your inbox. Quick sync from HR and your manager's name CC'd. Quick sync? No effing way. Translation, you're about to be synced right out of the org chart. And sure enough, it happens. Whatever their reasons, budget cuts, restructuring, nothing personal. The greatest hits list of layoff lingo.
Oh gosh, it's just an emotional roller coaster. You go through shock, denial, rage, probably snacks, and this time it's not Slack because you're locked out, remember, or rum raisin if you know, you know.
I like rum.
So, and I like raisin, but not together. You think you're going to be all composed and professional. Instead, you're just refreshing LinkedIn like it's a slot machine and binge watching Suits for career inspiration. And Meghan Markle, she got her inspiration there too. She climbed that ladder, didn't she?
Yeah, she won.
Um, but let's just be real. Getting laid off is a hit to the ego. Even if you knew it was coming, even if you hated the job, but you're listening and you've got through this, you're in it now. You are not alone.
Yeah, say it again. You are not alone. And we're here to talk about the practical part, the layoff survival kit. What do you need to do in the first 48 hours? Whether you're still in your feelings or already updating your resume font, here are 5 things you should do. CT.
Yes. So let's start with pause before panicking. Don't start applying to every job on Indeed. Take a beat, let the dust settle.
Yeah. When I always think about this, isn't it so hard that you're wired to grind 5 to 6 days a week for years to all of a sudden not have anywhere you have to be? Take some breaths. By breaths, I mean give yourself a break from that daily grind that you've become accustomed to. It'll work out. And not only will it work out, it'll work out amazing. Tip number 2, get the paperwork. Severance, COBRA, unemployment. Yes, it's so boring. Yes, it matters. I always think of that George Clooney movie, Up in the Air. Not a top 18 movie for me, but certainly top 100. When they have those professional folders of the layoff package, and there are stacks upon stacks of them. It's just a insane visual. Lots of lives are about to be changed. Make sure you grab it. Read it all, be ready with your questions, and don't miss out on something that could help ease the transition.
Yeah, that's definitely an important one. So the next tip we have is tell your people, tell your circle village, not just for sympathy, although, yes, it's nice. This is how you get started on leads, right, Kev?
I tell you, one thing I'll add, CT, is it's something that's worked well for my career is just don't wait until you need your network to network. Your network is your net worth. And I make it a habit to reach out to 3 people a month that I've worked with in the past that I respect just to check in. It's one part keeping in touch with you to help your network out, and it's one part keeping the network warm, unlike your second cup of coffee. Tip number 4, update your LinkedIn with honesty. You don't have to write an essay, just let people know you're open. There's power and transparency in asking for help. It's cool to see who reaches out with opportunities.
Yes, for sure. And then this is our last tip, but not the only tip, but this is do something small but positive. So now that you have the time on your hand, do the things that have been on your list and do something for you. Take a walk, get some sunshine, get your favorite sandwich, go to that workout class, sit by the pool. Little things really do help.
You just said favorite sandwich, and I just got really hungry. So
You're
thanks for
always
that.
hungry.
I'm gonna order Mendocino Farms.
You're-
They just opened one by my house. I'm so stoked.
what's your favorite sandwich?
The chicken parm. It's got these
Oh,
little
see,
like
my
crisp, chunky things on it. I love it.
I like the what is it? The Mary's not fried
Mm.
chicken. I think
Oh,
that's the one.
I
That
miss
one's
the.
mine.
They don't have the Impossible Taco Salad here, only in California.
Really? I did not
Yeah,
know
so
that.
disappointed.
Oh, yeah, I do
But
like
I'm
that.
still getting
My
my chicken parm.
I feel okay, we're not sponsored by Mendocino Farms, you guys.
I hope
So,
if you're listening,
but
DM
there
me.
is opportunity.
Oh, on that note, let's take a quick sponsor break. We just talked about doing something small but positive. Another good example of that is inviting some good friends over for some Glassman wines, the sponsor again for this week's episode. Glassman wines were developed by our wonderful friend and advanced somm, Brian Kulik. They have a delicious Pinot Noir that I'd call a perfect porch pounder, and I've been sharing it with friends all summer. Normally $35, we have a climbing ladder special for only $24.95 a bottle if you email my friend at brian@briandavidwines.com. We'll have all the info in our description. Enjoy the positive break with Glassman Wines, and please don't forget to drink responsibly. All right, big picture. So, what now? Here's the weird truth: getting laid off might suck, but it can be also a reset, maybe even the one you needed. I actually know way more people that it's worked out for better than not. And now, we'd love to bring on a special guest to talk about his recent experience, my great friend, Matt Cummings. I've known Matt for over 16 years and watched him crush various corporate roles with amazing success. He's one of the first guys I would hire for any role and one of the first guys you'd pick to hang out at a sports bar to watch any game. Welcome to Climbing Ladders, Matt.
Hey, thanks for the warm intro, Kevin. Really excited to talk with you and Christine today.
Yeah.
So, Matt, layoffs happen, as we all know, even to people as successful, smart, and hardworking as you. So, I'd love for you to tell our peeps about your experience.
Yeah, I went through a layoff earlier this year. It was actually the first time that this has happened to me. Literally one day I'm in my office mapping out a 3-year LRP. The next I'm mapping out which coffee shop has the best Wi-Fi so that I can get out of the house and figure out
Top
what's
three,
next.
apparently.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe some quick background. I was a senior exec in charge of business development and partnerships. I was brought into my last company to build a team from the ground up, and it was an amazing ride. Right in 4 years, we grew from nothing to 9 figures in annualized revenue. So
Wow.
we were having a ton of success as a team. We were making an impact on the enterprise, which is something that I love doing. And I think most importantly, we were having fun while we were doing it.
Mm.
But it was important to note that we were owned by private equity. So in those 4 years, I was no stranger to leadership or org changes over my tenure. But we had always kind of, by we, my team had always come out unscathed as we were really a growth engine for the company. We were making an impact and getting things done. I could sense some changes this spring were coming in the C-suite. But candidly, I was blindsided by the news that my position was being eliminated. So it was definitely tough. Maybe talking a little bit about that layoff moment. I was joining my weekly status call with my boss, and I joined the team's meeting, and the head of HR is on the call, and
Not a
immediately,
good sign.
your stomach drops.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
It's what's coming in that moment, and I think it's important in that moment that you just have to accept reality. This is
mm.
layoffs are about business shifts, not necessarily your value. It wasn't because of the work that my team and I were doing it. There were things that were above us and priorities that had shifted and opportunities that senior leadership was going after that had nothing to do with the work that my team was producing. So, it was tough in that moment to realize it, but accept it. I was a little bit lucky that, I had a couple of weeks before my role was positioned. So I wasn't locked out at 9 o'clock.
Mm.
Uh, my focus immediately then shifted to my team and my partners. I was still extremely proud, and I still am today, of the work that we did. My focus in that first moment was how can I make sure that they're in the best position going forward, and that I can leave them in a good spot. Yeah, that's kind of at a high
Good.
level my journey, through the layoff process.
Oh, I mean, thanks for the honesty too on it's that stomach drop. That's you're never really prepared, even if you are prepared. What were some of the signs you said you saw that potentially this could be coming?
Yeah. So a lot of it was validating work that you're doing, understanding where strategy documents are, having people involved in meetings that typically weren't there. For an example, our CFO started being a lot more involved in some of our deal conversations, which, you know, was unusual. And so when you
Mm,
start to see some of those shifts in behavior,
Mhm.
our team thought that meant that we were going to be changing our org structure, not that some of us would be actually be let go because priorities were changing. So noticing those keywords, requests for information, other people being brought into the team, I think those are early indicators that something is happening.
yeah, yellow flags for
Yellow
sure.
flags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I've always admired about you, Matt, is you care about doing your best work, making a big contribution to any role or project you're in charge of. And you can see the big picture and not get emotionally wrecked by a decision, like you said, out of your control. Maybe you can't say the same about your love for Minnesota Gopher sports.
Yep,
Um,
that's tough. Yep.
Fair. What advice would you give someone who was just laid off?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And, Christine, when you were talking earlier, I do think it's worth taking a beat. I like to think that I can compartmentalize better than most people, but it's still a hit to your ego and self worth. It's hard not to be somewhat emotional in that moment. So you need to take that moment to rest. That whether that's a day or for me, it was a day, but for other people, it might be a little bit longer. Don't be thinking about your resume or your LinkedIn in that moment. But then
Yeah.
it is telling those trusted contacts. And for me, that's my close friends. I'm reaching out to Kevin or other people that I've enjoyed working with. But I also told my kids, I have an 18 and a 16-year-old, they're going to notice that something's different. And I wanted them to know that it's okay and that this is a part of what happens. And it doesn't affect our day to day life. But then it really is about being public and positive. I can't, you know, re- begin to relate how much good feedback I got on my LinkedIn post when I let people know. And that's ultimately, leads me to my second point, I think, in terms of this journey, is that it's people hire people. It's not about resumes. If you're good to people, they will want to work with you and help you. I can't tell you how many offers just from that one LinkedIn post of people wanting to connect, reposting it to their network, sending me job interviews as they go forward. It is real.
Nice.
And so if you're good to people, they'll want to work with you and help you.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, you being a good person, spreading the love. It's like what you said at your last gig, where you're like, "I have 2 weeks. I'm gonna leave it in a great spot."
right.
That it probably those small moves like that are what makes you go viral on LinkedIn when people say, "Well, Matt's available. Let's help this guy out."
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. There are two more points that I'll leave you guys with. I think is the first that I think I was the most surprised at is that the hidden job market is real. You
Mm,
can't just rely on the job boards. My current job that I'm super excited to be in right now wasn't posted publicly. There is this network of recruiters or people that are holding on to jobs for the right person or the right time to become available. And so you need to be actively doing more than just leveraging the LinkedIn or Indeed postings. That hidden job market is real. I'm proof of it today. And then lastly, I think don't tie your identity to a title or a company. I think you're more than,
yes.
a business card or what your title is. Your brand really is your safety net. And so it's not always the most comfortable thing for everyone to do, to reach out when it, like Kevin said, to the 3 people a month, but make sure that you are cultivating that brand, cultivating those relationships on an ongoing basis. That's your self-worth, not the company that you're working for. It's the relationships that you're developing with people and the outcomes that you're driving.
Truth.
Yeah,
I just
that's really good. I really love that.
you've done that. You've created this brand. Like, is this something that you were conscious of, or is this just you being a good person?
I think it is about just wanting to work with good people and have fun. If you're spending, that many hours of your day, week, year, life with people, um, why be mean? Why do things that don't feel good?
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. And as I've gone through this journey, and now that I'm further along my career, and looking towards what the back half of that looks like, it's that's the most important thing to me is I just want to work with good people. There's great things that you love about your job. There's things that you don't, but if you can do it with good people and in an environment that is um, positive, it makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, be a good person. Good karma. CT, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, no, I mean, for those that are joining us, if this is your first episode that you've listened to, or you've listened to all the other episodes, one of the biggest things I would say the most common theme we keep talking about is your network and making sure that you are taking care of your network. And I actually just said this to another friend, and it is a common saying too, where you're not going to eat the fruit the day that you plant the seed. And it takes time to one build your network, but in cultivating it. Kevin shared his formula of, 3 times a month, connect with somebody. But Matt has, or it seems like Matt's concept is very organic also. You just constantly stay in contact and making sure that you're not burning those bridges because you never know when somebody is going to circle back. Like, for example, if Matt, like your private equity group, needed you for another project, I'm sure that they would think of you and would be happy to hire you back, or someone in that network would be, because you did not leave on a bad note. Yes,
Yep.
the feeling was sour, but you did not leave a sour taste in their mouth.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't tell you how many people now that I've gone to a couple different companies that I've worked with um, for the second time come around. It's a smaller world than you think in the corporate world, especially if you're in a specific industry or area. For me, that's retail. It's a much smaller world than I think
Mhm.
you realize. So
Yeah, totally agree. But gosh, Matt, thank you so much for sharing that. It's a very vulnerable topic. So, to share that it's happened to you or someone that, is close within your network, it is bringing the honesty to the table. It's so appreciated. So, certainly easy to see how you've had and continue to have such an awesome career path. We totally thank you for coming on and sharing your story.
yeah, thanks
Yeah.
for having me.
Yeah, drinks on me, Matt, on our next adventure. Thanks for being so transparent and just a genuinely great dude.
I'm taking you up on that for sure.
Yeah,
So
you got it.
all
Thanks,
right,
Matt.
all right.
CT?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So with that being said, I guess it forces a question most of us avoid. Do I actually like what I've been doing? Or have I just been climbing someone else's ladder? And no, no innuendos. I know my microphone has caused a lot of topics. But anyways, let's be serious again. Maybe your next move isn't, okay, update the resume. Maybe it's start that thing you've been thinking about or take a real break. We have constantly been saying take a beat, whether it's from burning out, layoffs, whatever it means, just take a real break, which I can 100% vouch for. I had one of the biggest breaks in my life, and I could say that the clarity is real. I needed it, so I'm thankful I did it.
Yeah, I loved that break for you, CT. Maybe sometime we should talk about sabbaticals for another episode.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
me and you are we
all
are
like
experts in
all
that.
20 of my sabbaticals I've been on.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're out there and you just got laid off, we see you. You're not a failure. You're not behind. You're just in a new chapter. And maybe, just maybe, it's the one that puts you back in the driver's seat. It's all going to work out amazing.
Yes, it totally will. And we'll be diving into something a little bit different for our next episode where we will have a fun Q&A and chat with another one of our climbing ladder friends who is both a climber and definitely a burnout, my dear friend Heather. So I really want you guys to expect a lot of laughs and fun stories from someone who literally makes climbing the ladder her personality.
Us- Oh, goodness, yes. Can't wait to see her get the squad back together and chat with you guys. Again, if you like what we're doing here, subscribe, pass it along to your friends. Until next time, keep climbing those ladders, even if the ladders look different than the one you started the week on.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.